Hey everybody, I'm Sierra.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome back to another episode of The Unsolved Couple, where every week Ben and I recap one of your original gateway drugs into true crime.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Okay, we're recording now. You have a hot mic.
Okay. Hot mic.
Hot mic and hot takes. There you go.
There it is.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We're finally here recording. It's taken a minute.
It has taken a few days.
We had some tech issues the other day. And
sure did.
Had to stop before we even got started, which was frustrating. But we're here. We're going to give the people what they've demanded.
Demanded?
Mm-hmm.
Are they demanding?
They are. Though? Benjamin David, of course they are demanding it. It's season 3, episode lucky number
13.
13 of Unsolved Mysteries.
Sure is.
Okay.
Do you have anything to share with everyone?
I really don't.
Nothing, huh?
I don't think so. It's been a very calm, chill few weeks here in the household. At least that I can think of.
Enjoy it. It's not going to stay that way.
No, and it's not been a few weeks. It's literally been 4 days.
It's been 4 to 5 days.
4 to 5 days of just kind of life being a little chill. So no, I don't have anything crazy to share.
Things are about to get crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know. I got a new sweatshirt from the thrift store.
That is exciting.
Yeah, it's very grandma. And I'm obsessed with it.
You need to wear that sweatshirt, and I'll wear my old man sweatshirt that I have. I have these knitted sweaters that I wear sometimes, and they are awesome.
They are
super
awesome.
comfy.
I'm leaning into it.
Is looks very comfy.
It just needs to not be 97 degrees here.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
I'm over the heat.
Yeah.
And you know how I feel about it.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Today, before we dive in, don't forget to follow our show wherever you're listening so that we automatically just drop right into your feed and then we automatically show up in your ear holes. You're welcome.
Ear holes?
Well, what else would you call them?
I don't know.
Does that seem aggressive?
It does seem aggressive. Mm-hmm. It seems a little aggressive.
Well, if you have a better term for it, please feel free to
just
start writing the copy for our plugs.
Just ears.
Okay, and if you're enjoying what we're doing, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating and review. It helps more than you know. It allows people to help find our podcast and keeps us bringing you more of the mysterious cases that you all love.
Mysterious?
Mm-hmm.
Are they though?
Yeah, it's Unsolved Mysteries.
Sometimes it's not a mystery.
All right. So I'm going to tell you about Ricardo Caputo. I have a lot of thoughts on this case, and I will try to stay focused.
I don't even remember this story.
Good.
I'll remember it as you start telling.
Okay. July 31st, 1971, NASA. I know this. It's in New York, Nassau County, New York. It's
Nassau. Now I can't because you said it. Nassau?
I don't think it's Nassau.
I don't know.
Nassau County, New York. Dang it.
I don't think
now I'm not gonna. This now for the rest of the episode is just in the garbage can.
All right, let's just skip where it's in New York.
Somewhere
it's in that county that we all know how to say it because we've heard of this county.
This county pops up in a lot of stories. Yeah,
there must be a lot of people that live there. Nassau.
I don't. Now I can't. Now it's in my head, and I don't know how to say it.
I'm out.
It was just after 11 p.m. when 20-year-old, if you could sip your drink a little quieter.
I got like a metal cup. and it's really loud. Should have thought about that
Probably.
before
And
I
also you
started.
like sipping it right into the
I didn't.
microphone.
I was out to the side.
I apologize if
So if
anyone
you
has
guys
any
hear my
issues.
drink, it's because I put it in a metal cup and it was a huge mistake.
So don't sip on it while
All right, I'll
I'm telling
push my
the
mic
story.
away when
Okay.
I'm sipping my drink.
So, like I was saying, 11 o'clock at night, 22-year-old Richard picked up the phone and made a strange yet urgent phone call to the police. He told them to go to the home of his girlfriend's parents and that his girlfriend's name was Natalie Brown. Richard and Natalie had been dating for just over a year. He had planned to marry her, but Natalie had confided to her friends that she was actually planning to break things off. I would like to note that it does specifically say he tells the cops that he was planning to marry her, not that they had agreed to an engagement. And that's, we're going to see a
this was the
pattern here.
one-sided
Mhm.
relationship, is what you're saying.
When officers arrived at the Flower Hill home, they walked into what can only be described as a nightmare. In the kitchen, against a cabinet, lay 19-year-old Natalie. She had been stabbed again and again and again, covered in, like, there was literally blood everywhere. It was a horrific crime scene, to the point where one of the detectives said that in Nassau County, that's how you say it,
There you go. You got it. Nailed it.
that in all of his years working there and for this department, this was the worst crime scene he had ever seen. So, how did we get here? To Natalie's family, Ricardo had always seemed polite, likable, and even charming. But appearances, as we have learned in the world of unsolved mysteries,
Oh,
can be deceiving. And in
I'm
this case,
remembering this case now, just slightly.
charm would become deadly. This guy, I saw a picture of him. He was a good looking guy and he seemed like he could be very charming. And unfortunately, good looking and charming doesn't mean good. After his arrest, authorities learned that before coming to the United States, Ricardo had been treated for mental illness in Argentina. A psychiatric review there declared him here in America, declared him incompetent to stand trial. And he was sent to, oh gosh, Matten, Matten Swan. Matt, these East Coast, like New York names are
I don't
wild.
think it's the East Coast. I think it's just the name.
It's just Sierra learning how to say things out loud.
It's,
Manitowoc.
don't you think it is funny that we read things and in our minds, we just see it?
Yeah.
And then when you have to say sometimes things out loud,
Mhm.
it's a mess.
It is, especially if you have dyslexia.
I don't know. I mean, maybe just 'cause
I read Harry Potter all obviously just like with an open book and in my mind. And then the movies came out later because we were alive when the books were
Yeah.
out without the movies.
Yeah.
And then I went to the movie theater and we went to the first movie and I was like, oh, yeah, I understood the story and I got the whole context, but the names of just about everyone except for maybe Fred and George Weasley
And Harry.
I was pronouncing them not even close to what they were
I
supposed
would
to
love
be.
to hear what your brain said was Hermione.
That was actually the first one. Oh, that's how you say it.
I mean, I'm sure you got Ronald.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear what
We
your
all would
brain
have. I
said.
know.
Hermione or Hagrid.
Nobody wants to have.
How did you say Hagrid?
I don't know. No one wants a sneak peek into this brain. It's a mess up here. Okay, so he's in the state hospital for the criminally insane. It was at this hospital that he would meet a 26-year-old psychologist, Judith Baker. Judith believed in building trust with her patients. She wanted them to feel safe. Over 2 years, this man slowly gained that trust and used it to manipulate her. By 1973, with Judith's help, Ricardo was transferred to a Manhattan psychiatric hospital. Unlike the other one he had been at, this one was far less secure. Patients were even allowed to leave during the day.
I don't understand this.
You guys, this
I don't
man
get it, but it is the
brutally
70s.
murdered his girlfriend, admitted to it, actually
Called the
Called
police on
police.
himself.
and then was deemed to be incompetent to stand trial. So, like we talked about in one of the other
I
episodes,
think
where I
it
was
was like 2
the
weeks
one that
ago.
just actually came out the other day, where it talks about then the state's responsibility is to try to provide treatment to get that person fit to stand trial. How we got from there to like downgrading this person's stay, I don't know.
Well, it appears,
Mhm.
at least again, how Unsolved Mysteries puts it.
Yeah,
We have to keep saying that because some people get upset
that we
that,
miss things.
that we miss things, but that's because I don't think they quite understand.
recap.
I don't think they quite understand that we take a lot of our information from our Unsolved Mysteries because we're recapping Unsolved Mysteries. But it appears that this psychiatrist or psychologist, I'm sorry, I wasn't sure, was vouching for him.
Yeah.
And it appears that she was going to
Psychologist.
bat for
Yeah.
him
I
to help him
understand
out.
what happened here.
But
I'm well aware, but once again, usually there's checks and balances and things. And anyways, okay. So these two begin to start spending more and more time together, largely outside of the hospital.
that's worrisome.
Yeah,
Just saying.
it is. She believed, or some believed, that at this point, their relationship had become romantic. No kidding. Her family does deny that she was ever romantically involved with this patient, but only saw him as someone that she could help, and um, introduced them as coworkers when she was out and about. So even her family met him.
But she was taking him around her family.
Mhm.
That is worrisome.
It is. So, rolling around October 21st, right around the time that this episode's actually going to come out, 1974, Judith failed to meet her parents for a family boating trip. Worried, they went to her apartment in Yonkers. I just want to live in a place called Yonkers.
That is a sweet
It's
name.
a sweet name. Inside, they found dinner for two in the living room, and in her bedroom, they discover her body.
Ugh.
She
Dude,
had
this guy is
been beaten,
diabolical.
strangled with one of her own stockings. And Ricardo, nowhere to be found. Also missing, her car, her checkbook, and some of her clothing.
What was he doing with their clothes?
I'm guessing he was disguising himself. Yeah.
This guy's diabolical.
Yeah,
He
100%.
takes years
Yep.
to gain
That
people's
takes
trust.
some
To then,
major planning
yeah.
to play the long game. Okay. 6 months later, Caputo surfaces in San Francisco. He had begun dating a woman named Barbara Taylor, a 26-year-old book editor. The two even took a trip to Yosemite National Park together, but Barbara soon told her family that she was planning to end the relationship. March 30th, 1975, Barbara was found beaten to death in her apartment. Once again, Caputo has poofed. Caputo poofed. He's gone. 5 days later, Mexican authorities turned over a man calling himself Ricardo Diaz to U.S. immigration officers in El Paso, Texas, but fingerprints revealed the truth. It was Richard. Before he could be charged, he and 3 other detainees armed themselves with makeshift weapons, took a guard hostage, and escaped. El escapode is what they say in Spanish.
I don't I don't think that's what they say.
All were quickly recaptured except for Ricardo. He fled into Mexico. In Mexico City, he moved in with a young college student, 21-year-old Laura Gomez. 2 years later, 1977, she's discovered dead in her apartment, brutally beaten and stomped to death and had signs of torture.
Golly, this guy's
Yep.
he's an animal.
Even to make things sadder, autopsy revealed she was 2.5 months pregnant.
Golly, he is an animal.
Yeah. This man is a monster.
He's some, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
The world would be a better place without him.
yeah. And I think people wanted him behind bars. I mean, obviously, this system failed these women big time. And it's hard because his second victim, like, I don't want to victim shame her. She was manipulated by him, but it's just terrible that he was even able to go to Manhattan in the first place.
Yeah.
That's where I'm saying the checks and balances failed, because there should have been a secondary person that needed to vouch for this guy to be able to go to a smaller facility.
Yeah, and I think, I'm sure it's better now. I don't know the system.
No, I don't either.
I would hope that now, that they look at the crime you're in a hospital for, and certain crimes, even if you appear to be getting better, would keep you in certain
I'm not sure.
lockdown or whatever. I don't know.
And I think
That's
checks and
outside of my
balances are also
wheelhouse.
going to be important when you have a male-female relationship too.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible.
It's the same. It is terrible. It is absolutely terrible. I hate that she was manipulated into believing that. Here's the thing. Let's even assume that her family is correct and she did not have a romantic relationship with him. She just truly, genuinely believed that she was being this amazing doctor or this amazing psychologist and helping him and rehabilitate him and do all of these things for him. And he placated on that and took advantage of it. That is awful.
Yeah, and I think people that do that,
Mhm.
they have a really hard job. I have a lot of respect, because here you have people that have a good heart in the fact of they believe in trying to help people get better. But unfortunately, there are also people, not all, that
They
then
can
try
read
to
that like a book.
that try to manipulate that system, and they take advantage. And
Yeah,
I'm sure
I think
that
I told the story here on the podcast that I at one point wanted to work within the prison system. I really wanted to be eventually a prison warden. I really enjoyed learning about that and understanding it and thinking that prisons could be ran better and that so many more things could be done. And I spent an afternoon in one, got permission to go to it in, my like junior, senior year of high school. And by the time I left, I knew that I was not cut out for that job, because I am in, for better or for worse, a lot of times I'm an optimistic in everything, and I see the good and trust that people are genuinely honest, good people. And I want to believe that in everybody.
Yeah. But I mean, this guy's a serial killer.
Yes, he is.
He's a serial killer, and he needs to be caught.
And I think, so he's linked again to another killing years later, August 2nd, 1983. There's an author and activist, Jacqueline, was found murdered in her Manhattan apartment. Neighbors identified Caputo as someone they'd seen coming and going around the building and had been trying to get into her apartment. He was also suspected of a 1981 Los Angeles murder of Devin Green.
How long is this guy out there?
There you go. By the time the police described this man as a chameleon. He seems to be able to change his looks, his name, his entire identity. He's charming, intelligent, smooth talking, and capable of sudden explosive violence, and is officially labeled as a serial killer. And that's kind of where Unsolved Mystery leaves us.
We got to get this guy.
You ready for your update?
I am ready for my update.
March 9th, 1994.
Dude, 94?
And get this, Richard turns himself in to the New York City police, confessing to 4 murders. He's convicted in the death of Natalie Brown, Judith Becker, and sentenced to prison on October 1st, 1997. Unfortunately or fortunately, he only served a few years because while playing basketball in the attic of the prison, he collapsed and died from a heart attack at 48 years old.
Wow.
So
My question is,
authorities believe that he still may be responsible for a handful of additional murders, but he was never charged in any of those cases.
and how many other people?
Yeah.
If you're doing that over and over every couple of years, it
Mhm.
seems to be from the 70s till 94.
Yeah.
Go.
Between here and Mexico.
Yeah. It's terrible.
It is terrible.
It's terrible he was on the road, but I'm glad they caught him.
And then he turns himself in.
That's weird.
It is weird, huh? Hmm.
Interesting.
Very interesting. All right. So, yep. So there's your update. We don't have to worry about that loser anymore.
All right.
You going to give us a go? It's your turn.
Is it my turn? Oh, do I have to bring something to the table here?
I would appreciate it, as I'm sure our listeners would. I mean, we can sit here in silence and just stare at you for an uncomfortable amount of time.
Do not tempt me with a good time. I could do
Of
that.
silence.
I could do that 100%. Does not. Silence does not bother me.
I know it doesn't.
Bothers some people. Not me.
Okay. But these people are here for a podcast. A silent podcast would not do well.
That's a great idea for a podcast. Silent podcast.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, Princess Buttercup.
You guys ready to hear the story of Mark Dennis? This is an interesting one. Bear with me. This one was a long one. That's why I only have one. And there was only 3 stories on this one.
Yeah.
But Mark Dennis, he was a soldier.
Thank you for explaining math to us, by the way.
You're welcome.
Actually, I've been listening to a lot of, what's that show we've been watching, Taskmasters? In England, they don't just call it math, they call it maths.
Maths.
Yeah.
Well, in America.
Thanks for explaining maths to us, Ben.
Well, in America, if you're like sophisticated, you call it arithmetic.
Ooh, very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sophisticated though. All right. Mark Dennis. He was a soldier in the Vietnam War. We're going to learn about his story, and it's kind of a sad one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. It's all right. He's from Miamisburg, Ohio. He joined the military in 1966, joined the Navy. And so they said he joined when he was 17, but he didn't get shipped out till he was 19. He gets shipped out to Vietnam, does this tour, and he, I thought this was great. The family says he was very religious. He wanted to be a missionary for his church or just his faith. And he said he volunteered because he hoped that by him volunteering would mean one less person that was married and had kids would have to go. I think that's pretty noble.
That was a very noble thing to do.
Yes, absolutely. And
was there a draft for the Vietnam War?
Yep.
Yeah,
there was.
There was a draft as well for World War II towards the end of it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
You know what?
Don't quote you on that?
No, that's I'm pretty sure. Yeah, don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure there was a draft.
I think there was
too. But don't quote me on that. But I do know there was a draft for Vietnam.
That was one of the big.
Because I had a teacher in high school tell me that he told the story that his roommate in college got drafted. And as you would imagine, college kids at that time, there was a lot of unrest going on.
It was very divisive.
Yeah, there was some that didn't want to go. That his roommate got on the table and jumped on his heels for a while to try to injure himself, to make himself like flat-foot so that he wasn't eligible.
Oh.
That's how I remember that Vietnam was.
That makes me sad.
Yeah. That's all I know. I didn't ask questions about that whole thing. Yeah, I know. Anyways, let's get back to Mark. Mark's a good man. He then goes into the Navy. He becomes a medic. So he was attached. He was attached to a marine company in Dong Hao, and it's close to the demilitarized zone, but it was in a hot zone. They were, it was, they were-
All of Vietnam was a pretty hot
yeah.
zone, wasn't it? Yeah, because that was
So,
guerrilla warfare. Like it was intense fighting.
yeah, I've read a couple books on Vietnam, and it's, yeah, it was a rough war. So July 15th, 1966, Mark was on a Chinook helicopter with 15 other um, Marines, and they were coming into an area and they were shot down. Their Chinook goes down. Everyone dies but 3 people. There's 3 survivors. And so obviously, actually, side research, there was 6 helicopters shot down in that area.
Oh,
Like that
really?
area.
Okay.
It was a big battle and a lot of soldiers died
That makes me
there.
sad. Yeah.
It's very sad. So obviously his family's told that he has died in combat. It is terrible. And August 9th, 1966, he is finally laid to rest at home in Ohio. When they did deliver the casket, the family was told, listen, you probably
Yeah.
don't want to look. There's not much to
Mhm.
see here.
Yeah.
And probably should just keep the casket closed. So they did that. And
I actually think that might be the pin in this story.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't.
I don't think it would have solved anything, but I think that if there was any sort of guilt or regret of not doing that, I think it opens up the seed for other things to grow. That's my sort of thought.
Yeah, I don't know. I
You
don't
know?
think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. But I don't know. I could be wrong. 100%. I usually
You're
am
never
wrong. I'm always wrong.
Men are always right.
So we get introduced to his brother, Jerry. Okay. Jerry is a big player in this.
Huge.
Yeah. So you're going to hear a lot of me quoting from Jerry. So they bury their brother and their son. You don't actually hear from the parents at all. They are not
No.
interviewed at all. Just his brother is interviewed, Jerry. So they do that years later, 1970, November 30th. Jerry sees an article in Newsweek. And in the Newsweek article, there is a picture of a POW. It's a black and white picture.
POW stands for prisoner of war.
Yeah. So there's a black and white picture of a POW, and Jerry is convinced that this looks like his brother. It's a very poor picture.
It's a very poor picture. It is in black and white, so that doesn't help it.
There's
because
no facial
It blends
features.
a lot of the features, right?
There's no facial features.
But I could see when they put it up, I was like, oh, I could see that being like, that looks.
Well, if you see
lot like
Mark,
him.
Mark is tall, skinny,
Mhm.
and has a long face.
Yeah,
But most prisoners of war are
skinny.
skinny. They
Yeah.
have been deprived of
And
nutrition.
this person is sitting down, so you can't
He's
see.
sitting on a bed,
Yeah.
and there's bars there. Anyways, doesn't matter. Jerry is pretty convinced, hey, that looks like my brother. So they request his death certificate from the military. Come to find out, so there was 13 dead on the helicopter, because technically there was 16 people on that Chinook helicopter, 15 Marines and Mark, who
Mhm.
is the medic. And they were going into a hot zone. Like, obviously they were shot down. They were going in to help with some fighting. And he's going in, obviously, to be a medic. So they request a death certificate. And in the death certificate, they find out that his body was pretty much burned beyond recognition. And they actually, the way they identified that it was Mark was through process of elimination.
Yeah.
Everyone else, they had 3 survivors. Everyone else was identified with dog tags, but Mark was not. They found 13 bodies.
Mhm.
They eliminated the other 12 by identifying the 12. The last one that was left.
You're going to
was
see a
Mark.
series of like unfortunate events here.
Absolutely. So they, by process of elimination, they identified that this person was Mark. Okay. So if you do catch, I'll talk about this in my update. The military does tell the family who that POW was in that.
Yeah.
Right. So
the military is aware. But wasn't that POW article about an unnamed man? I thought that was
I
the
don't.
whole point, is that this
It was
was an
about, I think
unnamed.
it was about POWs in Vietnam.
I will look it up because I'm 98% sure that it was about like an unnamed POW that
So
they
it was in 1971. The POW that it actually was came home in 1973. And then they did another article on him.
1971 POW. Was it Time Magazine? Newsweek.
Okay. So, anyways, so this opens up the door for the family to uh, question the military telling them if their brother really did die that day in Vietnam. So, and then his brother starts questioning him more because he meets a man by the name of Steve Wilcox, who was a Navy dental technician. And Steve Wilcox tells Jerry of a story that he met another guy who was a medic in Vietnam who says that he served with, so I'm getting names, served with Mark. And that he wasn't there for the crash, but he says there were some weird things around the crash. There was no medic bag retrieved or, recovered there. And that he saw things in Vietnam that he didn't agree with. So supposedly this guy, who we don't get his name, tells Steve, who then tells Jerry, I don't think Mark died that day.
Yeah.
For some reason. Okay. All right, hold on. I'm looking at my notes to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Again, we start to hear from people who probably think that they're going to help. And then it actually just continues to make things harder and harder.
So Steve Wilcox tells Jerry, Mark's brother, this, and it makes Mark even more suspicious it makes Jerry more suspicious of Mark's death, right? So they exhume the body.
Yep.
So they exhume Mark's body, and of course they open it up, and which is normal military procedure. His uniform is laid on top. Under the uniform is a military blanket with dog tags on top of the blanket, and under the blanket is a plastic bag with Mark's remains that have been burned.
Yeah.
So Jerry then tells us that he's suspicious because the dog tags.
Okay,
Go ahead.
So the photo was in the news article said, quote, photo of identified POW. So they didn't name the person in the article. That's where I think the confusion happened.
No, but they did later.
Yes, they did later. But again, that's what I'm saying.
They did a whole nother
originally
article on him.
that it was about an unknown, unidentified. Yes.
And so he thinks that's his brother.
Yes.
Okay. And that's,
but again, then they figured out later who it was.
Yes.
Yes.
So.
But it starts this snowball effect.
That picture is what started this whole snowball effect.
Yeah.
Okay. So Jerry says when he is looking at the casket, he sees these dog tags and they look brand new. He even says when he picks it up, like a burr from the metal cuts his finger and draws blood, but they have bird marks on it. And he says, listen, these are not dog tags that were worn. And it's clear because his death certificate said he was not identified from dog tags. Now we get a man from the military who and he deals with this stuff. He says, yes, this is actually pretty common. And this was common during Vietnam. He says, sometimes dog tags were lost. They were burned up, especially in
these
helicopters. And helicopters were their main thing that they used in Vietnam. So if that happens, they literally were remade. New dog tags were printed in Saigon to be sent with the body. So that's probably why. But Jerry is very suspicious because they even have people test the dog tags and it appears that they were burnt from a low-grade fire. So he thinks that they've made these dog tags, they burnt them to look like they had been in a helicopter crash and put it with the body.
Yeah.
So he thinks the military is trying to cover up and trying to kind of cover their tracks for his brother. Okay. So they even had a forensic anthropologist look at the bones that were sent. And he determines that the bones are from a body of a man approximately 5'7". But Mark was supposedly measured at 5'8". But the family says that he grew more when he left for Vietnam and he was closer to 6 feet. And they also say that um, residue on the bones was from the fire was not from what's the word I'm looking for? Gasoline from a helicopter. That it was
They're saying there's some
lead.
sort of ignition source.
Well, there was like from lead and stuff, which is not from a helo fire.
Got it.
Right. And I read a book. I think I've already mentioned this book before, but I read a book on a guy actually who flew helos in Vietnam. Tells a story. It was an amazing book. It was awesome.
Do you remember what it was called?
I don't. I'd have to look it up. But he talks about like that was their greatest fear is burning from helicopter fuel. It burned so hot. So they were terrified of that.
Yeah.
Because it is nasty. So fair. But we get another military guy that says, listen, yes, there probably was like lead residue because in a helicopter, there is lead, there's paint, there's guns, there's ammo, there's batteries, there's ammo. Like it's not just helicopter fuel that's burning. There's all this other stuff in a helicopter that are burning, and all that stuff is catching fire and burning, which can leave residue. And I was like, it's a valid point, but his brother Jerry is not quite convinced, obviously. So he petitions the Navy to change his brother from KIA, which is killed in action, to MIA, missing in action. So military says no. And he doesn't even really want to. He says, like, these are not my brother's bones. And so the military says, listen, you can either accept those are your brother's bones or we will take them and we will bury them in Arlington Cemetery under your brother's name. So the family says, absolutely not. They rebury the bones. And a side research, they don't tell it. They actually rebury it and they name it an unnamed soldier.
Really?
Yes. And that's important to know in my update.
Okay. So we should put a pin
put a pin in that.
Okay.
So, obviously war ends in 1973 to 1975 and POWs are coming home and they're hopeful that their brother is one of them. Unfortunately, he is not. So in 1981, Jerry starts pressuring his congressman to look into it. He does. So the military, again, does another investigation into his brother. They interview one of the survivors from the crash. Because like I said, there was 3 people that survived that helicopter crash. And one of the survivors does say that he thought he saw 2 people jump from the helicopter when it was going down. He just assumed that they died. And so Jerry thinks that might have been his brother, jumped. They were over enemy territory, so maybe he survived and he was taken prisoner. Okay. But, we get a military. It's like, listen, he says they jumped, but he says also. They would
have had 2 bodies missing at the.
But he also says, listen, we recovered 13 bodies.
They recovered the correct amount.
We didn't recover 12. We recovered 13. And also, the military guy says, listen, we also have a pilot saying the smoke was so bad they couldn't see anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's possible he thought he might have seen him jump if you've ever seen a Chinook helicopter, they're massive.
Yeah. Are they the double-bladed ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the double-bladed ones. They are.
Yeah, we live by the Air Force Base. And so we've seen a lot of these helicopters. And it is, if you see it in person,
the Chinook is.
It's massive.
And he says, he goes, it's possible that they fell to the back of the aircraft and
Yeah.
you just lost sight. So, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here.
Yeah.
So he's not trying to, he's just saying, listen, possible, but I thought his point was very well made. We did recover 13 bodies. So, all right. So, December 1986, Jerry is still, he's going to Washington, D.C. Like he is very adamant that,
Mhm.
and he raises a good point. He just feels that the military has not taken care of his brother. Fair? Okay. So he's telling this story. They're at a bar in DC and he's telling the story to someone else. He's there with his wife and a man interrupts him and says, listen, sorry, I just overheard you. I was a POW from, I think he said 64 to or 66 or 64 to 67, something like that. He says he was a POW for 3 years
Oh my goodness.
during
Yeah.
the time that his brother was killed in 66. So
Okay.
64 to 67 or 64 to 68, something like that. And he said, I moved around to multiple camps. And he goes, and I knew a guy. He goes, there was a guy that I knew by the name of Dennis. That's Mark's last name.
Mhm.
He goes, well, what was his last name? You know, Jerry asked him, what was his last name? He goes, I don't know. We mostly went by nicknames. He goes, well, what was his nickname? And he said, Preacher. And so, of course, Jerry is
Yep.
very moved by this because his brother wanted to be a missionary and he was a medic. And also, he'd just written home that he was a chaplain in their unit at the
Mhm.
time. He was the acting chaplain. So, Preacher would be a
That
name that his brother would use
that's what
as
I
a
mean.
nickname.
Everything that could have happened as far as like giving this family like just enough hope to ignore everything else keeps happening.
Yeah. So, this automatically reaffirms Jerry that his brother was at least lived
Mhm.
past that air that
Yeah, that the
helicopter
person they
crash,
buried was not his brother.
and that the remains that they have are
Yeah.
not his brother, and he wants the military to.
Acknowledge that.
I put this. There was a man by the name of John Rogers. He works for the military, and he said, "Listen, I have." He goes, "I feel I know and have become friends with Jerry." He goes, "And I have done everything in my power to try to convince Jerry, and on behalf of the Navy, that the remains that they have is his brother." He
Mhm.
goes, it pretty much is like, it makes me sad that he refuses to believe that that is his brother that we
Yeah.
have given to him.
Grief is a
So,
fickle thing sometimes.
so Jerry comes back and says, listen, that's not my brother. And the military, he goes, I believe if I walked into the military office with my brother in hand and he was alive and well, they still wouldn't believe it. They refused to believe that my brother
And
was.
it's a very interesting thing to me. Could the military show him anything to believe that his brother, that they had the remains of his brother? Do you know what I mean? Like he's saying that about the military, but I don't know if he took a moment to think that same thought about himself.
I think it's a very
Yeah,
complicated
it is a
situation.
very complicated situation.
And the
And I,
update is going to be even more complicated.
okay.
So
All right.
this is pretty much where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us.
Okay. Go
you know?
ahead with the update.
So we do get a little bit of an update. I'm going to tell you what Unsolved
Yeah, they
Mysteries
do come
tells
back
us.
with a little like, hey, this is some things we found out post production.
Yeah. So um uh, Robert Stack comes back and tells us, listen, after we aired this story, the military contacted them and said, hey, listen, we actually have a few more details you guys might be interested in that wasn't, this is me using
Mhm.
these words, that was not portrayed correctly.
Okay.
So they say, listen, we identified that POW
The
in the
Newsweek.
Newsweek article.
Okay.
His name was Paul Galante. And he goes, and we actually told the family that. We gave the family that information that, hey, this was him. And then there was another Newsweek article on Paul Galante in like 1975. And there's a picture of him on Newsweek and he tells his story. And that's him. Right. The military then says, hey, listen, we actually combed through our entire records. And there is no, so I'm sorry. Let me backtrack. The man that talked to them in the bar that said, I was a POW and I met that man named Preacher, his name was John King.
Okay.
He tells them that. My name is John King. I was a POW. I
Okay.
met your brother. Also, and I forgot to say this, I'm bad at this. They showed a picture.
Yeah.
Jerry showed a
And he said,
picture
yeah, that's
of
the guy.
Hey, and
Yeah.
John King says, yeah, that's him. That was him. 100%. I know that's him. That's him. So of course that convinces them. So Unsolved Mysteries thing, the military says, listen, we actually combed our records. In 0 branches of the military, Navy, Marines, Army, Air Force, was there a POW by the name of John King? And in more research, that guy was a fraud.
Are you serious?
So
What is the point?
dude, that guy is a horrible human being.
Yes.
So no POW by the name of John King was ever held.
Do you remember the story about the lady who pretended to be part of 9/11? That she was in the towers when it happened and like
No.
infiltrated the. Oh, okay. That's a podcast for a different day, but I think there's a documentary. But there is a woman out there that pretended to be a victim of 9/11 for years.
Yeah.
And it's things like this. And I'm like, where do people get off?
Yeah, I don't know. It is wild to me. And it's very upsetting to think that someone would do that to,
like I said,
to people. Especially to hear this story and to then all of a sudden, it's not like this guy concocted that plan beforehand. He's sitting there listening to a family talk that are probably grieving. Obviously, they're still grieving over burying their brother. Point? And to insert yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got no words. Yeah. Anyways, so military contacts Unsolved Mysteries say, listen, we scoured our records. There's no man by the name of John King who was a POW, okay? And with the direction and the help of the military, again, he was exhumed again, and they looked at the bones. They did an x-ray of 3 vertebrae, and they had a man by the name of Dr. John Fitzpatrick, who is a forensic radiologist, look at this x-ray, and he matched the x-ray of their brother before he left for war to the bones in the casket. And he said there was an exact match of these 3 vertebrae. Mm-hmm. So he says this is a positive identification. Unsolved Mysteries contacted Jerry, his brother, asked for a comment, and he says, I still don't believe it. So that's Unsolved Mysteries update. Okay. I have more of an update. All right.
Ben, give us your update.
Let me just make this very clear. It's a little confusing, and I'm going to give you what I have, but it's supposedly. Okay. Not supposedly, but in 2016, 2017, the DNA test was done. Jerry, the brother, died in early 2000s. Unfortunately, still believing that they didn't have the full story of their brother.
Peace.
Me too.
Wherever we end up in the next round.
2016, it was actually 2017. DNA testing was done, and it was positively identified as Mark.
Okay, so the remains that the family got were the correct ones. Maybe.
So I could not. Supposedly April 5th, 2017, those remains were laid to rest. His sister, who lived in Colorado, those remains were sent to Florida and buried because they dug it up again under the unnamed soldiers in Ohio, tested it, identified it, and identified that. The sister then had the remains cremated and buried next to his parents in Florida.
Okay.
Steve Wilcox, who we talked about earlier, wrote a book. Now, I scoured. So let me back up. I found an article from 2015 that the remains were tested for DNA, and they were not a match.
What?
Yes. Steve Wilcox
And
wrote
now
a book,
they've been cremated
and the sister did that
so
instead.
that this could be done.
Said, I did this so that this can be laid to rest, because the person who pushed for the remains to be tested in 2015 was the daughter of the sister. So, like the niece. This family has been fighting this battle. But Steve Wilcox wrote a book, and he said in his book, now I could not find a second source on this, so take this for what it is. He said an expedition was done in 2014 of that site because, like I said, 6 helicopters crashed at that site. And under some debris that was still left, remains were found. And those remains were supposedly tested and were a positive match for Mark. Either way, Mark died that day, unfortunately. I don't, like I said, Steve Wilcox's book is the only thing I could find about that expedition in 2014.
Okay.
The sister is saying, listen,
We're done.
We have a positive match that this was my brother. My brother died. She cremated the remains and said, we're done with this.
We are ready to let our family grieve and move on.
I want to bury my brother next to my parents and leave this in the past.
Yeah.
So, but articles were saying that the remains in Ohio were the ones that tested positive for Mark.
Okay.
Multiple articles.
Okay.
And you know how I feel about multiple.
You should have a few sources. Yep.
I always feel, but if you read the articles, they're scanty on details and just here's the ending.
Okay.
And I only did find that one article from Denver, which is where his sister lives, that the remains supposedly were tested in 2015 and weren't a match. I didn't find a second one. I found multiple because obviously they did a bunch of articles that, hey, this man was finally laid to rest in this family.
Yeah.
Either way, it does appear Mark died that day.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart that this family, that they
chased a ghost.
I don't know if they chased a ghost. Here's the thing. They wanted answers. And it does break my heart because I don't think the military was trying to cover anything up.
No.
I don't think the military was trying to hoodwink the family.
No.
But there was also a war going on where hundreds and thousands of our young men were dying. And the military was doing the best they can. Is it possible that the remains were not 100%? I don't know. But I do think that no one was trying. There was no ill will here. But I also understand that the family wants answers and they do want to bury the right person. I can respect that. I don't know what it's like to lose a family member in
the battle of war. Yeah.
And so I can't. It breaks my heart that this family had to go through what they went through. And it breaks my heart that, that they were uncertain about what had happened and wanted answers. But I will say, I did read, the military did 4 investigations. This man's remains were exhumed 4 times.
Yeah.
Over the course of 40, 50 years. It's not like the military did put in, and so did the family. So hopefully I think we got an answer. And if anything, the family has clearly.
The family's decided that they're going to grieve and move on.
So,
yeah.
But
well, I mean, I hope that they're able to find solace, however that looks for them, because it's a tragedy. I mean, war is no matter what.
But I'm thankful for his service, his family, his family's service to the country. And
we're thankful for that. Okay. All right. Are you ready to talk about Canada?
This is dude.
We love our Canadian brothers and sisters.
This isn't about Canada. This is about what? UFOs?
Canadian UFOs.
It's all the same.
What you talking about,
There's no difference between a Canadian UFO and just a UFO.
Oh, there is a difference. The Canadian UFO is very polite. And it says A.
No.
And they love maple syrup. Are those all the stereotypes about
who
Canada?
doesn't love
Is there any
maple
more
syrup?
stereotypes about Canada?
I don't know, but who
Poutine.
doesn't?
They love to
I think
put
that's a Northeast
sauce
thing.
on their French fries.
I think you're mixing Northeast with
Oh, no.
Canada.
Poutine is a Canadian delicacy. I have a Canadian friend. I've got a few Canadian friends. I'll send them a message and ask them if poutine is Northeast or if it's
I
Canada.
tell you what, though, if you've never had real maple syrup, you're missing out.
Yeah. So good.
I went to
and
upstate.
It's like the organic real maple syrup you can buy at your fancy Whole Foods, but like legitimately from the small farmer in like the Northeast.
Yeah, that's what I went to
Potsdam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Upstate New York. And right on the Canadian border. And one day we went to the sugar, I don't know what they call it.
The sugar house or whatever.
Yeah, the sugar house. That's what they call it. And I bought real maple syrup from them.
Did you buy the sugar too? Like the leftover crystallizes and you can buy maple sugar and it's incredible.
So good. It was so good. And I cried a little bit when we ran out because I bought a jug and it was gone. And I wouldn't let the kids have it because they didn't appreciate the goodness of that.
They still don't. They want the cheap, like nasty
Walmart
syrup.
brand.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Great value, whatever.
They love it. Yeah. Okay. So 1970s, since the 1970s, a strange series has been taking place.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, it has. Lights have been floating around over Vancouver, which is in British Columbia. Lights that, one might say, defy explanation. The most frequent and most detailed reports have come from a singular source, a woman named Dorothy.
That's right.
A homemaker and mother of 4. Okay. Dorothy's first sighting occurred November 9th, 1974. Benjamin, stop laughing. Aliens are real. Oh my God. They're getting ready to land. I mean, by the time this episode comes out, we might have already experienced them from that comet that's coming our way.
Oh my gosh. Please stop.
That is a TikTok rabbit hole that I love going down.
I'm glad I'm not on TikTok.
Dorothy was 52 years old and she was in her kitchen making tea, as one does, and suddenly felt as though someone was watching her. Said, no, I hate that feeling.
Do you get that feeling?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do. I get it in public sometimes. Actually, that's where I mostly get it, is I feel like someone is definitely just like hyper focusing. It makes me so uncomfortable, but I've had it when I've been like home alone.
Maybe I'm just unaware.
Yeah, I just think you're a man. So like, and that's not to say bad or good, but I just don't think you have to be aware of someone like watching you. Yeah. So she walks over to the window and hanging there in the night sky is an enormous diamond-shaped object, spinning slowly, flashing bright colors. Rather, though, than being afraid, Dorothea felt a sense of privilege, as though she was being allowed to see something extraordinary. Her husband and children brushed off her story. Mom, she probably had too much wine that night. The skepticism motivated Dorothy to prove that she wasn't seeing an airplane or a star, or that she wasn't going crazy. One night, she took a flashlight outside and she flashed it 3 times to the left, and the object in the sky moved 3 times to the left.
How did this story make it on Unsolved Mysteries?
3 times to the right. It moved.
No, it didn't.
3 times to the right.
No, it didn't.
Up, down, zigzag. No matter the movements, the object in the sky mirrored her movements exactly. Dorothea was stunned. This wasn't in her imagination. Whatever it was, it had intelligence. Determined to document it, she began filming the lights. You are laughing, and I worked like really hard on writing this script so that it would be well told, Ben. So sit down.
It is well told. I'm not saying it's not well told.
What she said she saw with her eyes were simple glowing orbs, but when she slowed her 8mm film frame by frame, she found something startling.
Do you want to know something? I'm going to get us off a little bit. When they said that, that's where I realized that movie 8mm or what, Super 8.
Super 8. That movie's so good.
Because
That's an underrated movie.
They called it a Super 8mm camera.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized, oh, that's where Super 8 got their name.
Yeah, I don't know if that's exactly where they got their name, but it would make sense.
No, because in the movie.
In the movie, yes. You're not saying it's based on this story.
No. I just didn't realize the camera was called a Super 8mm.
That was Ben's light bulb moment. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
You're welcome. And that is a great movie.
It is.
You know what? That movie is better than this story.
I think so.
Yes, 100%.
And that's Hollywood. So she slowed her 8mm film frame by frame and found something startling, something mesmerizing. Sudden bright bursts of light that when frozen were actually colored streaks and lines, almost like patterns of communication. Dorothea used at least 3 different cameras, and each time she recorded a similar phenomenon.
Why do you have 3 cameras?
Because of skeptics like you. Because you can't, it would be, well, that camera did this or that was that. When is it enough, Ben? When is it enough for people like you? Tell me.
You're never going to convince me.
Exactly. So that's exactly it. So this story is not for you. This is for my UFO friends. So sit down and be quiet. Except if you have something important to say.
Everything I have to say is
okay. So she used 3 different cameras. She even had individual frames blown up into photography or into photographs.
She sold them.
No, these images revealed beams of light shooting between objects as if messages were being sent back and forth. Sometimes she said a brilliant beam would shine directly down on her, illuminating her yard. By the late 70s and 80s, Dorothea's footage had gained popular reputation within the UFO community.
I'm sure it
has. And she had accumulated more than 25 hours of film and over 3,000 photographs.
And she's the only one in this town that has all this stuff.
Didn't know the objects were trying to give her a message.
Of course, they're only talking to her. They know exactly where she lives.
Visit her phone, and a psychiatrist who spent time with Dorothea said she believed that she was sincere, that she wasn't lying or making things up, even though he couldn't say for sure what the objects were. A photographic expert reviewed her film and said it did not appear to be faked, but suggested that the lights could be some sort of natural phenomenon rather than an extraterrestrial craft.
Shocking.
Mm-hmm. So one visitor named Jerry came to Dorothea's house out of curiosity. As he sat and listened to her describe her experiences, he suddenly felt a bizarre sensation in his right ear. When he mentioned it, Dorothea smiled and saying she had felt it many times before. Less than a minute later, Dorothea pointed out the window. Jerry turned and saw, to his shock and awe, a bright metallic object hovering in the sky. Dorothea continued to film, convinced there was a message hidden in these pictures. She said that the lights seemed to come closer and closer over time, and each film yielded even clearer images. Her self-described mission was to keep documenting this as long as she could, hoping that one day someone would understand what it all meant. And that's kind of where Unsolved Mystery leaves us. Are you ready for your update?
Oh, yeah. Give me the update. Where are the aliens? Did they show up?
When Unsolved Mysteries visited Dorothea's home, she claimed that the lights were present and they filmed them themselves. While her camera did show the familiar bizarre light patterns, the network's cameras did not pick anything up.
Are you trying to tell me
Dorothea continued documenting the lights for decades? She passed away January 29th in 2001, and to this day, her photographs and films remained unexplained. They have been examined by many experts before, and there's been no visible signs or evidence of forgery. or any sort of manipulation to her cameras, but they can't be explained. There's people on both sides of the aisle saying that they think they're fake, but they don't know how she faked it. They haven't been able to recreate it. And then there's a lot of experts that think that these are genuine. So it just all depends on if you are a good person like me
Or
or
a
a
bad
loser
person
like
like me.
Ben who doesn't want to believe in anything.
He's like, I don't think, I'll be honest, I don't even think she was like trying to hoodwink
I
anybody.
will say, from what because I tried to read into this, she never profited off of this.
I don't think
She never tried to make money. She never tried to sell her story. She never seemed to do anything other than feel like she had a calling to record this stuff and keep record of it.
Let me make this very clear. Okay. I'm not even calling this lady a fraud. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not calling her that she tried to, you know, deceive anybody,
People. Yeah.
right? I think she went out there, she videotaped whatever she did. I am just amazed that one, clearly she goes out and films all the time, and she's the only one in this entire country seeing this. And they clearly are just looking for her and moving for her.
But when they're photographed over big cities and multiple people videotape, but you still don't believe it.
You're
It
right.
happens in Phoenix all the time.
Absolutely. And I whatever, that's my thing. But again, I go back to this. I saw the pictures. They're just weird.
They are weird, just
lines of
blurry
light.
lights. Yeah.
Okay, that is weird. My question is, how did we get from picture of weird lines of light to aliens? How did we make that jump? That's a really far jump. Like, we jumped the shark on this. You are telling me that there can be zero more explanations between filming weird lines of light and aliens? That there might not be another explanation in that gap? Really? Like, that's what we got? Aliens?
It's always aliens, Ben.
What?
I don't know. You're just not.
It's
part
just
of
lines
the
of
team.
light. I'm telling you, yes, you probably filmed
Do you
that.
believe in aliens at all?
Nah. No.
Okay. I mean, there you go. And that's your thing. That's fine. I would say that that's probably the normal. I think I'm a fringe person. I do believe in aliens, and I believe that they've had multiple encounters with people since the dawn of time. So do with that what you will.
You believe that guy was up in Massachusetts or Maine? He got taken by aliens.
So the guy with the beam of light at the very early on.
Yeah. That was the best story. Hands down, best episode of Unsolved Mysteries.
I did believe the first guy, the military guy. The lost time guy. I didn't believe a handful of the other ones, but I did believe the lost time guy.
No. No.
Ben, I've been down some rabbit holes where even like old carvings in like, the Incas and all that stuff that have portray some sort of flying object and different beings and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, that was the aliens coming down and visiting and sharing intelligence.
No, absolutely not.
Do you ever wonder how we ended up married?
No.
Fundamentally, we have so many different beliefs.
No, I don't wonder, because I love you dearly. And it is your personality and who you are is why I love you.
That I believe aliens are real.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm a very boring individual. So if I were to hang out, if I were to marry someone like me, it would be a very boring marriage. I enjoy our marriage, why it is
Independence Day starts taking place. Do you feel like it would take you longer to accept what was happening, or you would be able to shift your mindset pretty quickly? Because I really feel like some people, let's just say if like you were so staunch in the belief that this absolutely is not, like, let's say you even see Bigfoot, whatever it is in the forest, and you're like, no, I know fundamentally at my core that this is not a real thing. So takes longer for the acceptance to change.
Sure. Like, absolutely. It would take me longer to accept a fringe thing
Yeah.
than other people. Like, I'm not afraid to admit that. Um, but if I turn the news on, like in Independence Day,
Mhm.
and CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, NBC, whatever, are all showing me the same picture of a spaceship over New York City, I think that maybe it would take me 10 seconds longer to believe it, but I think I would
Yeah, dude.
dive
I
into it.
almost like now though, AI stuff freaks me out.
That's a valid point.
I almost think I would have believed it more 10 years ago than
Absolutely. I think we all would have.
Because I've seen all kinds of crazy videos on TikTok and stuff that look legitimately like a real encounter of something. And I'm like, I can't buy that.
Well, yeah, AI
because
can make that, but
anything. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, and maybe that's a valid point. I don't know.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Yeah, I would absolutely. It would take me longer to buy into aliens. Here's the thing. I do try to at least say, listen, I'm willing to accept it. You got to just give me really good evidence. And maybe I say that and someone would bring me evidence and I would say, ah,
Yeah, I don't think you would believe
probably.
any
You're
evidence.
probably
'Cause
right.
what is the evidence? Is it going to be
Yeah,
video?
you're
It's
probably
AI.
right. I
Is
would
it
probably
photography?
just
Oh, it's X,
dismiss it.
Y, or Z. Because I could probably pull up everything that we have quote. We've got testimonies, we've got sworn affidavit, we've got video, we've got pictures, and you don't buy any of those. And that's about your most solid amount of evidence you're going to get.
Yeah, but yeah. See,
See,
exactly. That's what I
exactly.
mean.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm not afraid to admit it. Like,
Until it happens to you personally.
I think we all want to believe we're open minded, but I don't think we're as open minded as we think we are.
Mhm.
I'm pretty staunch in my ways, so clearly.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm ignorant. Maybe I'm a
Well, that's
douchebag. I
ignorant.
don't know.
No, that's not at all what I'm
But,
saying. I just think here's the thing. I will say you don't seem to this you're laughing at and having a little bit of fun.
Absolutely.
But if
This is
someone
fun.
genuinely believed that they'd had this crazy, terrible experience, you wouldn't treat them horribly. You would
I wouldn't
feel
even
empathy. You would,
I
yeah.
wouldn't even tell them they're crazy or that their
No.
story is out of line. I would say, okay, I wouldn't believe it, but I would keep it to myself
Yeah.
because that's just
Mhm.
I am a big firm believer in people's personal beliefs,
Yeah.
and respecting that.
Yeah. So,
But if you're asking me to just buy into this, I thought this story was I was amazed it made it to Unsolved Mysteries.
yeah, to me,
It's
as
just,
far as like alien stories, she didn't have any major encounters as far as that. It was lights in the sky, you know? And so, but I do love talking about aliens. I find the whole premise of the universe pretty fascinating. I'm following this comment that I mean, I mentioned to you months ago about this comment that was coming through.
I
And
saw a
like,
picture of it today. It is fascinating. I'll give you that.
I mean, it is an interstellar object.
And it's weird. I saw
Yeah.
that close up picture.
And you've got some professors making there's a Harvard professor specifically like making some what he's pointing out some things that saying, hey, this is not consistent with what we know about interstellar space travel. Okay, cool. We don't know a lot about it because we can't do it.
That is raises a question. Well,
Yeah.
we know everything.
Yeah.
If we don't know everything, then there very well
But
could
that's
be
what
another
scientists do. They
possible.
say, hey, we don't know
Absolutely.
about this. So we need to, I mean, I'm sure that there's a handful of people that wish we could intercept it and study it because we could learn a lot from it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
This guy comes out and says, this is not consistent with what we know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people, I should say some, not a lot. There's some people that come out and they're literally saying, well, that means that this is aliens. Instead of looking at it that way, like, oh, hey, this isn't what we know about it, but it's possible that
I
we
would love
don't.
for this thing to be aliens. I would love for it to be, but do I think it's more along the lines of the fact that
But the answer could be,
these are
it's
just things
possible that this is just something new that we've never learned
Yeah.
before. And now we're going to learn it.
and we only have
by
a small
studying
window to
this.
learn it and we can study it. But again, the next interstellar object could be different because it's a
Exactly.
different part of
But it just goes to show that we don't know everything.
No, we
And
don't.
all he was saying was, what we do know, which is little, this isn't consistent. So we're learning something new about that.
Yeah, mathematically and scientifically, the way we understand mass and matter and all kinds of stuff, this one's not lining up with it. But again,
But here's the thing, I also find it fascinating. And I also enjoy the conversation. Even though I might not believe it, I enjoy the conversation.
Yeah.
I enjoy the conversation of aliens. I enjoy the conversation of Bigfoot. I love.
You would love Bigfoot to be real.
I would.
Yeah.
I literally have said that. Do I believe it? Not really, but I would love for it to be real.
Yeah.
I am here for it.
Yeah.
I love these and you know why I love these conversations?
Because it's fun and light.
They're fun and easy,
Yeah.
and it's simple.
And it allows us to have imagination, which I think is something that we lose out on as we get to be adults.
And it's not talking about serial killers that go around and doing terrible things to women all over the country, like that douche.
Like that douche. All right. Well, that is our recap of season 3, episode 13 of Unsolved Mysteries. Please make sure to follow Ben and I on social media. We are on TikTok, Unsolved Couple Pod, and Instagram, same name, Unsolved Couple Pod. 90% me, 10% Ben. I do share things with him that we get through there if you send us messages and different things like that. But we do post a lot of.
I stay in the loop.
He stays in the loop. I post a lot of extra content on there. It's a great way to show your support. It's a great way to connect to us and find out what we're doing and what's going on within the pod. And yeah, make sure to leave a 5-star rating and review. All of those things. If you don't want to stick around for our question, feel free to exit stage left. And Ben, here is your question. What is the silliest thing you have ever convinced somebody to believe?
That is a good question.
It is a good question.
It goes back to some of our prank questions.
I was saying, prank culture needs to come back. Not where anyone gets hurt or dangerous, but I love scaring people. I love being scared, and pranks are the best.
The world is a better place when we're just playing jokes.
People get out of control with these things, and people end up like doing if anything involves illegal or dangerous, it's not a prank. You're just being a menace.
That's not a prank.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're going to have to go, and I'm pretty sure I know the story you're going to tell, and it is awesome.
I don't want to steal that one from you because I have another one, so you can take that one.
No, the one I'm thinking I wasn't a part of.
Oh, you weren't a part of it?
Yes.
Okay. So when Ben and I can't remember if we were engaged and dating or first married, but we went down to my parents' house in Myrtle Creek. And I took you to wildlife safari for the first time. Remember?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Okay. And my sister Brandy was in the car. In fact, I think all my siblings were in the car. I think
was I part of this?
Yes, you were.
This was the one?
You were there. Yeah. Do you want to tell? This is yours.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I will tell this one.
Do you not remember being there?
How many times?
That's what was so convincing is that you and I leaned in on this one together. Without question, we didn't rehearse this before. We just saw a moment and jumped in.
This is why Sierra and I are so good together, because one of us takes, when we see an opportunity, we take it, and you don't have to tell the other.
No one overplays it.
We just roll with it.
Yeah.
And this is why we're beautiful together. Here's the thing. I've said this so many times on this podcast.
That your
memory is awful.
Yeah.
Terrible. But yeah, we went to wildlife safari.
Mm-hmm.
And after.
Nope. You were okay. I'm gonna have to tell this story.
We were there.
We were in the drive-through. So if you've ever been to Southern Oregon, this is worth traveling to. In fact,
but there's a lot of these around.
No, wildlife safari is world known because of their cheetah breeding program. But they have a drive-through safari park, and it's just a zoo, a drive-through zoo. Yeah, it's a drive-through zoo. And there's most of it, you get to have your window down. You can see these animals up close. They've got bears and cheetahs. Those ones you do have to roll your windows up for, but it's really cool. And I think I took it for granted because I grew up there and we did this all the time. Every field trip was wildlife safari. So we're driving through, and I can't remember exactly how it got started. But between Ben and I having a conversation and talking loud enough so that people either heard us and jumped in, but we started talking about how tragic it was that Jurassic Park didn't work out, because the experience of getting to drive through wildlife safari is so cool that, like, it's a real shame that we never got to experience Jurassic Park. And my sister was like, wait, that is a real place? And I was like, yeah, the movie's based on a real story. And this is before Google, right? Before we had not before Google, but no one had a smartphone so they could look it up.
Yeah, you didn't have a smarphone in your pocket.
And we both start like sharing facts about things that we know from the movie, like convincing, so that within several minutes, my sister, and if anyone knows Brandy, like this will ring true. She was fully on board that Jurassic Park was based on a true story, based on a true park where this actually did happen. And the scientists had figured this out, and then it had gone awry and everyone died. And so the park never was actually able to be opened in the early 90s. And that this is as close as we're going to get as driving through wildlife safari. And I think she believed it. I need to double check with her, but I think she believed it for a while.
I think we rolled with it for a while.
Well, and I think it was years later where something was said and she's like, wait, that you like realizing that and like, then you realize, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I fell for that. But when we were first married in 2007, she was what, in high school still, or just graduated high school? She was young.
She was young.
Yeah. So
that was a good one.
That was a good one.
I forgot about
that. The other one I had for a while, me and my roommates in college, I lived in San Diego. We started like this thing. We told our parents and like several people, and this is again before people could Google things, that originally there was an alternate ending to Free Willy.
What?
That the whale fell and like killed the boy in the end. So the ending was sad instead of it being a happy ending.
That's terrible.
We told so many people. I mean, hundreds of people for the whole year. Anyone that we met, we'd be like, we would casually like talk about how we got to like see the original ending of it. And then they had to like pull it from theaters and redo it because like the feedback was that this was like another terrible, like My Girl or like whatever these other movies were, like the ending is just so tragic and terrible. Do you remember My Girl where the kid gets stung by a bee and dies?
Never seen
okay,
that
spoiler
movie.
alert for anyone who had seen it.
Never seen that movie. I don't even know what you're talking about.
You've never even seen that movie. Macaulay Culkin is in it, and he like makes best friends. He's like a young kid.
I have no idea.
Summer crush love, and he gets stung by a bee and dies like in front of his best friend, and she's got to go to his funeral, and she like puts his glasses on him because he can't see without his glasses.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I can say that with 100%.
Anyways, there was a handful of movies in the early 90s that seemed like happy kids movies and then had terribly sad endings to it, right? Homeward Bound almost got there. I swear that
Homeward Bound is a great movie.
It is a great movie, but it is a tearjerker, but it all works out.
My dad cries every time.
I know. Movie. Anyway, so we convinced a lot of people
that the
original ending of Free Willy included that iconic scene, but that he like falls and not get over the jump all the way, and the boy dies, and that the whale
I thought you were going to tell the story of scaring your sister at the barn.
Oh, well, we didn't convince Brooke.
Yeah. No, we convinced your sister that something terrible had happened and that some kid had gotten lost. And the last time
were we even boyfriend and girlfriend at that point? Or
we were dating at the time.
We were dating casually, aka
casually.
We could be dating other people if we.
Your sister was your younger sister, not
Brooke. Yeah,
not the other one. Yeah, and we convinced her that something terrible happened. And the last time this kid
that involved Dutch, my roommate, too. She was in on it as well. That a red wagon, a kid had pretended to run away from home with a red wagon. The
last time I seen him, he was with a red wagon. And right as we got
to like an abandoned
house. This was like a
something.
Halloween prank. And we went into some abandoned barn.
There was
a red wagon there. And right as you're telling the story.
About it because we had gone to this abandoned house the day before. But you didn't know we had told them about this story. Yeah.
And right as you're telling about the red wagon, I kicked the red wagon.
And I turned my flashlight off as I was telling the story. And like you kicking the red wagon and me turning the flashlight off happened at
the same time.
exactly the same time.
Your
I'm
s-
fine. We should have known at that moment, right then and there, that we were meant to be married.
Your sister screamed. I think she even pushed you to the ground.
No, Brandy was also with us. She pushed Brooke to the ground, ran to the car, locked the car, and would not
That's
let
right. She
anybody
got
in.
in the car and
Brandy
locked.
bailed on everybody. It threw her little sister onto the ground and locked the car so
She
no one could get in.
screamed so loud, both of them. That's so much not making someone convinced. That was just a prank.
That was
It
just
was
a prank.
great. The world is a better place with
Yeah.
pranks.
I agree.
Good, wholesome, fun pranks. And you know what? It's Halloween time.
Yeah, go and
So,
plant.
My
some
challenge to
pranks.
everybody
Yeah.
is go find a good, wholesome,
Scare people in a fun, safe way.
get a good prank out.
Get a good prank
The
going on.
world's a better place. You're a better person.
Everyone laughs at the end of a prank. And
everyone-
if they don't, you don't want that person in your life. If someone can't take a prank or being like the subject of a prank, that is like the litmus test of whether or not you want them in your life.
That's right.
Because if
So
they are mad and scream and freak out about it, you don't want that kind of person around.
go have a good prank with somebody.
Okay, guys. Well, we will be back next week where Ben and I recap another episode of
Unsolved Mysteries.
Bye.